I think so
All right.
too.
So now we're live.
Okay. I was like, I think it's there now.
Yes, I wanted to make sure I was live this time. I'll have to
Oh,
tell you
okay.
about a story next time. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Get the Tea on Living Beyond Cancer. I'm so excited to have you all here. I wanted to come on today to introduce you and present to some people, introduce to others, my dear friend and sister, Angela Hunter. She is the founder of My Beauty for Ashes, and she is one of the people I met when I first got diagnosed with breast cancer a little like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I saw her, and she really impacted my life in ways she could never imagine. I saw her doing her thing, and I really realized, even though I was going through treatment and I wasn't really too sure of my outcome, but seeing her and the wonderful things that she was doing in the community, it really gave me hope. It inspired me. And I was like, I don't know who this woman is, but I love her.
Oh,
I was like, I'm just so excited that I got a chance to meet you. And so I wanted to give her the floor and let her introduce herself and share whatever it is that she want to share.
well, hello everyone. And Marshall, I know you probably already know, but I'm a crier, so like I was not expecting that for sure. But I will say this before I do say anything about myself. You were the first person outside of my friends and family. You were the first stranger to support whiteout breast cancer. Like I remember the phone call when you called me asking me about the event and kind of like what it was, and I was like, make sure you introduce yourself to me at the event.
Mm.
And so I want to say thank you. Like you were literally the first stranger who has ever supported me, and so it's a pleasure, it's an honor for me to be here today. And my name is Angela Hunter. I am the founder, executive director of My Beauty for Ashes. My Beauty for Ashes is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We support current and past breast cancer patients with financial grants for things like rent, mortgages, car payments, but as well as like beauty enhancements for patients who have like lost their hair or lost their eyelashes or eyebrows. So that's the thing that kind of sets us apart from some other organizations. We support, we want to help you financially, but then we also want to help you feel beautiful again. And so yeah, we've been around now to be 5 years.
Yeah.
This year we celebrate 5 years of whiteout breast cancer, 5 years of helping breast cancer patients and survivors in the community, 5 years of hopefully being a source of hope to those other individuals that might be going through something similar to what both you and I went through.
Yes. And thank you for what you're doing with Whiteout Breast Cancer. It's truly like, you guys, it's the best event of the year. I have
Oh,
been to all of the events,
yes,
and
you
I didn't even
have.
know the first time I went was your first time because it was so elegant. It
Yeah.
was like, it was like elegant. It was amazing. It was just inspirational. It was everything that any cancer survivor should attend and want to attend in their family. So it was just a really amazing event. So if you guys have not been, you must check it out this year. It's usually in October, but this year is in September. I'm so excited and glad that we're going to start, letting everybody know about it now so you can attend and come. But it's definitely, I call it the event of the year,
Oh,
especially
that's sweet.
the white
That's
event
very
of the
sweet.
year. So you must be in the place. You must be in the place. And Angela is really doing really great things in the community, and she is really helping survivors. Like it's a lot of organizations out there, and everybody's doing their thing.
Yeah.
But she has really been a blessing to me. And last year, I was a recipient of an award, and I got a scholarship, and it really, really helped me at a time that I needed it the best. And so, thank you so much, Angela.
Oh, absolutely, girl. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I would like to hear a little bit of your story so people can know like whatever you want to share about your breast cancer journey.
Okay. So I was diagnosed with stage 3 HER2 positive breast cancer on September the 26th of 2014. I was 36 years old. I had a 3-year old son and a 3-month old daughter. Um, I mean, I think anyone who's diagnosed with cancer is probably just taken for a loop and just really, shocked about it. But I really, really was like, people say that I'm a thinker, and I can think of like all these different scenarios and stuff. But me having cancer at 36 years old with a young family was never a scenario that I ever thought about for my life.
Mhm.
Um, and so, in that, we were a young family. My son was 3, my daughter was 3 months. And financially, it just really hit our family. I'll give you a little of my backstory. Before I was diagnosed in January of 2024, I was laid off. I was laid off from a position that I was in, and I was making well over 6 figures in that position. I was laid off in January for that year. I didn't find a job until like April of that year. And so just think about being pregnant and looking for a job. And so I found a job in April of that year, and I ended up having my daughter in June of that year. So financially, we were already strapped. We have a 2 income family. And so, financially, we were already strapped. So after I had my daughter in June, I took off, I think it was 2 months of leave. And in those 2 months, the organization that I worked for, it was no such thing as like maternity leave. If you didn't have leave already, then like if you didn't have leave on the books, if you were off, whether it was having a baby, sick, or whatever it was, if you didn't have leave to cover that time being off, you didn't get paid. And so for those 2 months that I was off, I probably wasn't paid for probably about maybe 6 weeks or so. I was not paid. And so I go back to work end of August. And one Sunday morning, my family and I, we were in bed. And my right hand just kind of casually fell on a spot that felt like a lump. And I really didn't think a whole lot about it because I had just finished breastfeeding my baby because I went back to work. So I didn't think a whole lot about it. But me being a nurse, I said, let me just watch it. And so I watched it, and it didn't get any bigger, but it also didn't get any smaller. And so I reached out to my OBGYN at the time, Dr. Eli Brown at Brookwood, and I kind of let him know what was going on. He sent me to have a mammogram. I had that mammogram, and in my mind, I'm thinking again, it's just something drying up from breastfeeding. And so that was only my second mammogram in life. My first mammogram was like the year before, and it was an all clear. So I had a mammogram. After that mammogram, though, they sent me for an ultrasound that same day. And when I did so they sent me for ultrasound, and in my mind, I'm thinking, like, these folks just trying to get my money, like it's nothing wrong with me. So they sent me for ultrasound.
Yeah.
They said, if you don't hear anything back, well, they said your doctor will let you know, kind of the results of it or whatever. So I think probably about 3 or 4 days had passed. I had not heard anything. And I remember thinking, well, everything must have been okay. I haven't heard anything. At that time, I worked in a locked area, so like it was in the basement of the facility, and so sometimes cell phone calls didn't come through. So I got an indication, like literally after I had that thought, I got an indication on my voicemail that I had a message. And when I listened to the message, it was my doctor, and he was like, "This is Dr. Brown. I need you to call me when you get this message." So I called back from my work phone, and literally before I could get Angela Hunter out of my mouth, Dr. Brown had picked up the other phone. And his words to me were, I need you to get to a surgeon. Your ultrasound came back suspicious for cancer.
Mm.
And so that was kind of like the beginning of my journey. I went to that surgeon. He did a ultrasound guided biopsy in his office. And I remember looking at it on the screen as he was doing it, and it was just like a big ball. And it looked like it was just mad and angry. And after he finished, I remember asking him, just with his experience, what did he think? And he said, I'm concerned that it's cancer. And so I waited. I think they said it would take 48 hours, 72 hours before they let us know. And I never heard anything. Like I kept calling. They say they'll take my name. They'll call me back. Never heard anything.
Wow.
But again, I worked in a locked facility, and someone called me and said I had a visitor, and I went out the door and I saw my husband, and I knew, just from seeing his face. So I was never a person who actually heard the words "you have cancer." When I saw my husband's face, like I literally fell to the ground, like I slid to the wall. I was on the wall and I literally slid to the ground. And so from there, it started my journey with treatment, surgeries, and the whole man. And when I tell you, I think anything that could go wrong with the cancer treatment
Yeah.
did go wrong with me. I had so many surgeries, like 2 or 3 episodes of sepsis. Like it was a lot, and ultimately, it was a lot on us financially. And that was the whole reason why My Beauty for Ashes was founded, because what I went through, nobody should have to go through. And at my 5 year mark, the inaugural event was my 5 years of being cancer free. But I was like, it's more than just about me being cancer free. Like, what can we do so that nobody has to go through what I went through? And so, that's really the heart of the organization, trying to make it easier for the next person so they don't have to worry about bills while worrying about if they're going to live, like, so yeah. And I can go more in depth into my story if you want, but that's kind of like just that's kind of how this organization started and my diagnosis and all that stuff.
Okay, well, thank you so much for sharing your story. It's so very powerful, when we do share our story.
Yeah,
Sometimes we share like certain aspects of it because it's a lot to share.
it
Like
is.
a cancer diagnosis is not for the weak, and it's a lot. It's very challenging, and I know that we make it look really good in October. Like we wear our pink, we get all dressed up. We even get dressed up in white for the white out event,
Right.
and we look really great. But cancer is a lot, and it's not just about being pretty and pink and white or whatever. Like it really is life changing, and it changes the whole family's life and anyone that knows you. And so
Absolutely.
I'm so happy that you're giving resources to help our community and helping the women out there. And I know it's definitely helped me. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, it's I think it's my greatest passion. So it's an honor. It's an honor.
Yes, and I can tell that it's a passion of yours. And I'm very passionate too about serving the community and helping everyone. And I think I kind of forgot to really introduce myself in the very beginning. So I was just so excited that you're here.
Oh,
But I will take some time to introduce myself because it's probably some people here who don't know who I am. But I am Marshall Harris, and I help cancer survivors advocate for their own health and wellness so that they can navigate through the healthcare system with confidence. My mission in life is just to make sure that no one does cancer alone,
mm,
because having a cancer diagnosis is very scary. It will impact your life, and sometimes there is a lot of fear that comes behind it that you will not survive. But this whole show today is called Get the Tea on Living Beyond Cancer, and we got our tea here.
yes, we do.
Because cancer is not a death sentence and you can live beyond cancer. You
Absolutely.
do have to change your life. You do have to have resources, education, in order to live. You can't do it alone. So that is really what's behind getting a T on living beyond breast cancer. That's the heart of the whole talk today. And so we will be talking about some different topics. If you have some comments that you would like to say, you can leave the comments. I would try, if you have questions, I will answer them at the end if it's something that we can answer. Hello, Talisha. Hello, Tina. Thank you guys for tuning in. So glad to see you guys here. And so, Angela, so you went through a lot. So, how did you prioritize your self care, like during the time of treatment?
Oh my goodness. I mean, you had like literally, I don't think you have a choice. Like it's not, whether you're gonna go to treatment or whether you're gonna, I mean, I literally had no choice. For me, because I had a 3 month old, I think one of the greatest blessings was that my mom, she literally took my daughter and she took care of her while I went through treatment. Like I didn't have to worry about I didn't have to worry about my baby girl. Like I didn't really have to worry about my son. I had one of my good friends, my line sister, like every weekend, every weekend I had treatment, she took my son. So like my support system was amazing during that time. And so they allowed me. I didn't have to ask, because I'm a person like I don't like asking people for anything. Like I will, I'll bear down and I'll do what it is that I have to do. But I didn't have to ask. Like they were just there. If I thought of something that I might have needed, they were just there. And so that allowed me to just really like focus on me. I didn't have to, be worried about whether Anna Grace was okay or whether Jackson was okay, because I knew they were. And so just having, that support system, my family and my friends, man, I they, people say all the time, you see who your people really are when you get sick or you're broke or whatever. Like I saw who my people really were. And I'm thankful for that. And so I was just able to focus on me. I still had to work. I remember my oncologist asking me, like every appointment, she would say, "Are you working?" And I would be looking at her like, I mean, is there another option? Like, do I not have to work? Like, yes, ma'am. I gotta go to work. But so if I could change anything, I would definitely, change that if I could. But yeah, I mean, I was just able, because I had so much support, I was able to focus on getting well.
Yes. And that makes such a big difference, having the
Yeah.
support. And I always tell people, because I get a lot of questions about, I have a friend diagnosed with cancer, or a family member, cousin, husband, wife, whatever. And I always tell them to make sure that you provide support, because
Yeah.
they will probably say, I don't need anything, I'm fine, or I'm okay. I mean, because it's just a normal thing to say. For some reason, we don't want other people to worry.
Right. And you don't want to feel like you're a burden to anybody.
Right. We don't want to feel like
Yeah.
a burden. We don't want them to worry. We don't want them to stress out, which we definitely need a lot of support during after treatment as well. And
Yeah.
so do whatever you can. So you can always ask them, hey, I have like 5 things that I can do for you, or give me 5 things that you need done. I'll pick something from your list. But
Right.
definitely reach out any way that you can, because they definitely need some support. I know when I was going through my treatment, I really didn't have a lot of support. So I
Yeah.
know how important it is to have that.
Yeah.
Because being single, having younger kids, it was just a lot. And living in Birmingham, I didn't have a lot of family here. So I didn't have a lot of support. And then I also did my treatments in Georgia. So that didn't help
Mm.
either. So it was just really, really hard and complicated, which is another reason why I like to provide lots of resources. And there's so many great organizations out there. Even
Yeah.
in Birmingham, of course, we have My Beauty for Ashes. We have Sisters Can't Survive.
Yeah.
We have Cancer Awareness Network. We have Pink Tops, and so many more.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so and even Forge, they're very helpful as well. So it's lots of opportunities out there to get assistance, but you have to know that they're there. And so
Yeah.
that is one of the reasons why I like to use my platform to share about education resources and from my own personal experiences, because
Yeah.
that's how you can get through cancer. It takes a village, really. It
It
does.
definitely does. And I mean, I think this is awesome what you're doing, because I remember going through treatment and being sick and stuff, and like searching the internet for like resources, because it was not, just like readily available. And so the fact now that you're, bringing people on and, letting people know what the resources are, that is definitely needed, because I mean, it was 10 years ago. So I'm sure things have, changed somewhat, but, to be going through chemotherapy and surgeries and stuff, and then you're searching to see who can help you. It's a lot, and so I think what you're doing is absolutely awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I want to do my part, because I know the statistics. I don't like the statistics for
Right.
one. So I'm here because I want to make a difference. And when I found out that every 13 minutes a woman dies of breast cancer,
Yeah.
that breaks my heart,
Yeah.
because um, I didn't really know if I would be here today either. So I would definitely want to just do whatever I can to help another family.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of why I advocate. And so some of the things I do in the community is I have written 2 books about my journey. Cancer Won't Stop Me, and also Become a Cancer Boss, Unlock the Keys to Boss Cancer and Not Let It Boss You. These are
Mm.
resources I created to help cancer survivors, caregivers, and anyone on their journey of wellness.
Yeah, those are awesome.
So, what are some challenges that you faced during treatment, like some health challenges or physical, mental, anything like that?
Girl, so I mean, I had countless challenges. So my first chemotherapy infusion, like maybe that next week, I developed. So I had a port put in. And for the people who don't know what a port is, a port allows like easier administration of toxic, chemotherapy to your system or whatever. A lot of times when you get IVs, because the medication is so strong or this infusions are so long that it's just better to have a central access port. And so I had a port put in. And after that first chemotherapy infusion, that port actually got infected. And so from that infection, I actually set up sepsis. And what sepsis is an infection of the bloodstream. And so in my mind, I'm thinking like, what? Like, how does this even happen?
Right.
And so I was in the hospital for the sepsis infection for I think about a week on IV antibiotics. They discharged me home, and then I had to get a PICC line placed, and I had to have IV antibiotics for 6 weeks around the clock. So I
Mhm.
was I was back at work. So imagine I was going through chemotherapy, like so I was just starting to lose my hair. I was still having to go to work. Pretty much every day that I wasn't in the hospital, I was going to work. And I now had to walk around daily with this little fanny pack on that was infusing antibiotics 23 out of 24 hours a day. Like mentally, that's a lot for someone. And emotionally, that's a lot. And then just the physical part of, having sepsis, not knowing whether or not, because sepsis is not just like having a cold, like it's an infection of your bloodstream. You can die from that.
Yes.
And so that was my first experience. And then in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, well, now I have sepsis. So now I'm in the hospital. So now they have to pull out this port. So like, when am I gonna get my next infusion? Because in my mind, I'm thinking like, let's get this over with. Like, I want this to
Right.
be over and done with. Like, and I made like a vision board for it. So like I started chemotherapy in November. My infusions were like every 3 weeks. Historically, we have always gone to the beach for my son's birthday. His birthday is March the 30th. And my goal was to be through with chemotherapy by March 30th. So I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, now this gonna set me back. Like now we're not gonna be able to go on our beach trip. And it's because I didn't want my son to have to or my family in general, I didn't want anything to have to change because of what I was going through. And so that was my first battle with sepsis. And then after my last so I had HER2 positive breast cancer, so I was on Herceptin. That's a like targeted therapy for the type of breast cancer that I had. So I had to, after I finished my 6 rounds of like the real hard chemotherapy, I had to go and have his Herceptin infused every 3 weeks for a year after that. So
Mhm.
after my last round of Herceptin therapy, so I had been finished with the chemotherapy for probably 6 months or so. So after my last round of that, I was still getting it infused in my port, and it got infected again, and it set up sepsis again, and I was in the hospital again. But this time it was during the Thanksgiving holiday, and so in your mind, you're thinking, okay, like I'm done with this. This is behind me. And now, the part that was just supposed to be like targeted therapy, now you're back, kind of like in that same position. And um, so I mean, surgeries I've had, I, I stopped counting probably after like 6 surgeries, how many surgeries I had, because I did have a bilateral mastectomy. And because I felt like, I was 36 years old, and I felt like I'd done everything like you were supposed to do. Never smoked a day in my life. I
Mhm.
ate a healthy diet. Like I exercised. I was a healthy weight. I breastfed both of my babies. Like I felt like I did everything I was supposed to do not to get breast cancer. And so I had a double mastectomy, and I had reconstruction. So It was I think people just kind of look at cancer, and it's like, okay, well, you go through chemotherapy, you might have one or two, but no, it's a lot. And I know, and even me as a nurse by profession, and I had been a nurse at that time for about 15 years, I didn't understand, what all went into being a cancer diagnosis. Like never in a million years that I think that patients had to go through all the things that I went through. And so, yeah. And that's like a condensed version of it. But anything that you can, like every emotion that you can think of, you go through that with a diagnosis of cancer, with treatment of cancer. Like, and just, and then add all the extra stresses of having to work, having a young family, all that stuff. Like all that stuff is things that people with cancer are going through on a daily basis, and then having to worry about how you're gonna pay your bills. Like, yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot.
It is definitely a lot. And when you think about everything that you've been through, how do you think you overcame? Like, how did
God,
you overcome all of that?
it's not a thought. Like I know that God has always been with me. I know that it was my faith in Him, because again, I had sepsis twice in a year span. Like, so, I've seen people die from sepsis. I've seen people die, and I thought about it this morning, as I was like preparing for the interview, and I thought about my story, and I thought about how less than a year before my diagnosis, I had received an all clear. Like, that was my first ever mammogram, because my aunt had breast cancer, and so I did my first mammogram at 35. So less than a year before my diagnosis, I had gotten an all clear. At my 6 weeks checkup, so my daughter was born June 20th. My 6 weeks checkup with my OBGYN, he did a very thorough breast exam. It was nothing there. It was nothing there.
Mm-hmm.
And in September, I was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. Not stage 1, not stage 0, stage 3. I had one main tumor, and I had several satellite tumors around that tumor. Logically, that doesn't make sense.
Right.
um, so it's not a question of, I know God has been with me, and that's why, it's like I do what I do in September, October, whatever, will write out, or throughout the year, to help somebody else, because I'm like, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. I have no doubt in my mind how I got through. No doubt.
Yes. Jesus is so wonderful.
Yeah, yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
That's what I always tell people. Like, I wouldn't be here without Jesus. And I
Yeah.
told him that if he saved me, that if he let me live, that I will share my story and I will try to help other women, even though I'm the kind of person that wouldn't normally share her story because I'm very private, you know?
Yeah. And in the beginning, like
Yeah.
literally nobody knew. Nobody knew but like my family, and like my closest friends. Like, I wasn't on Facebook sharing about, I was diagnosed. I did not share my story until I was finished with treatment. Like, I didn't, because one reason was I was embarrassed. I felt like being sick meant that I was weak. And I'd never been a person, and I don't know, I'm sure that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But that was, I was embarrassed that I was sick. Like, how did I let this happen to me?
Mm,
So that's one reason why I didn't share. And then another reason is because I do believe so strongly about your words have power. Like, I didn't want people speaking that, oh, Angela Hunter, the one that's sick, because I wasn't sick. I had already declared that I was healed by His
right.
stripes, that I was healed. I didn't want people speaking those things over my life. But what I realized is, if someone like me, someone who felt like they did everything they were supposed to do, if
Mm-hmm.
I could be diagnosed with breast cancer, then anybody could be
Anyway,
diagnosed with breast cancer. And me holding on to my story, or me holding on to what I had gone through, it wouldn't benefit anybody if I didn't share that. And
mm.
so, like, right before I went in for my mastectomy is when I kind of shared my story over social media, and I don't think I've stopped sharing it since.
Yes. And sharing your story is so actually it's so healing.
It
Like
is.
it's
It
just like a
is.
scary thing at first, the first few times, but then once you get to sharing it more and bits and pieces of it and you realize that you can change someone's life, you can really impact their life and help them make decisions and just
Yeah.
kind of let them know that hey, it is a point of being on the other side.
Yeah.
Like that's why I want to do this social media channel just so I can let people see like we were both diagnosed with breast cancer, but we're still here. We're still
Yes.
going. We're still living very full lives, and we don't look like what we've been through.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
God is good.
Thank you. Thank you.
God is good. And
Yes.
so we want to give him all the honor and all the glory because we
Yes,
give that what
absolutely.
glories do. And I'm just very thankful.
Yeah.
So, oh, I lost her. Maybe she'll sign back on. Hello, everyone. So I am interviewing Angela Hunter today. I think she lost her connection because she just kind of got locked off for a minute. But I would like to take this moment to just say something that I'm working on now. I'm working on an anthology, and the anthology is going to be I'm working with 20 cancer survivors, derivers, previvors, anyone that's going through a diagnosis, and I'm helping them share their story. And so, not everybody necessarily want to write their own book, but we are going to be coming together with a very special project, and it's going to be a book, and we're going to share it with the world because I want you all to step out of your comfort zone and get used to sharing your story with the world because you can make a lasting impact and change. And Angela is back, so I'm going to add her to the stage again. Hey, welcome back, Angela.
Hey, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. My phone just went out. So my apologies.
Yeah, I figured you was gonna come back. So
Sorry.
all right. So my next question is more about so what does your self-care routine look like now? You know, because I know like once you go through treatment, like your body is different, you're different. So what do you do to kind of get yourself back to you, what you feel like is your you or your new normal, or for self-care? What does it look like
Um, Gosh. So my self-care, like, I make sure I make time for me. Like, I don't, I don't think I did a really good job of that before cancer.
now?
Like, I don't think I did a really good job of like celebrating myself. I don't think I did a really good job of, um, making sure that Angela was okay. And my sister tells me all the time, she was like, when you don't party much, or you don't break much, but when you break. Like, I make sure I take those days to like just break, and that's whether it's break, it's like, and when I say break out, like I'll get a hotel room and I'll just spend time with me, get a massage. I think for me, again, I feel like the things that I should have done, the things that they told you to do to prevent you from getting cancer, I feel like I did though all those things.
Right.
But I can, one area that I'm always trying to get better at is how I manage stress, how
Yeah.
I manage, just the stresses of daily life. And so that's one thing during that time that I did not manage well. And
Right.
so now I'm conscious of that.
Mhm.
And I take the time for myself to just kind of shut down and rejuvenate myself.
Yeah, so that's very, very important. And that's a good point I want to touch on because you felt like you was doing everything to prevent it.
Right.
Being a nurse, I'm sure you was because you was very aware of like the things you needed to do.
Right.
And me being like a health coach, I felt like I was doing everything that I needed to do. I was also in the military, so I knew how to work out. I knew how to exercise. I knew how to eat healthy. This is what I did for a living.
Right.
So when you
Right.
talk about being ashamed and embarrassed that you was going through some health crisis, it's definitely a real thing because you feel like, how could this happen to me? Like I'm the one that's supposed to help everybody be well. And it was a very big surprise. But as we experience this, we realize that anyone can get cancer
Yep.
at any time. So
Mhm.
whether you don't feel sick or not, like I didn't feel sick, I felt great. I had lots of energy. I felt like I was in kind of like the best shape of my life. I was beginning
Oh
to,
yes, like
I
yes,
was doing pretty great.
I was
I was the only
good.
thing was I was going under a lot of stress
Yeah.
because I just recently got a divorce. A lot of things were happening in my family. So stress is a very big factor, and you definitely want to reduce your stress. And so I lost Angela again. So hopefully she'll be back in a second. But stress is very dangerous. So you definitely want to make sure that you do things to take care of yourself. You do things to relax, not stress. Make sure you get an amount of sleep. Make sure that you're eating healthy, like real foods. I'm pretty sure you guys are on TikTok now, and even on social media. A lot of people are sharing some things that are seems to be very surprising to everyone. That there's a lot of toxins and things like that in our food. So we have to be eating healthy, like real foods, cooking at home, not eating out all the time, but all those things matter because even the toxins and things that we put on our skin matter. So what you put in your body and on your body matters as well. So I'm glad you're back, Angela.
I don't know what, like literally, I don't know what's going on. It's giving me. I don't know if I need to maybe connect from the Wi-Fi. I don't know, but this is my apologies. I don't know what's going on there.
Okay, so let's move on to the next question. So, what are some natural solutions that you incorporated, or did you incorporate anything natural when you was in treatment, and now?
So now, I feel like massage is natural. So that's
Mhm.
something that I incorporate more of now. Chiropractic care is something that I use.
Oh man, she's gone again. So while she's gone and trying to get connected again, I will share some things that I did naturally when I was in treatment. So I did high dose vitamin C. Also did chiropractor. I did acupuncture. I did infusions. So vitamin D infusions. I did ozone. Those are some kind of infusions you can get when you go to natural facilities. They have those infusions. They're kind of like IV bags that are filled with all kinds of goodness. But they really do make a difference, and there have been lots of research on it that it can help with cancer. So reduce tumors. So there's been a lot of research out there. So I definitely recommend everyone do their own research. I took lots of supplements. And if you purchase my books, I tell you pretty much my whole protocol of the things I did. Let me show you my books right here. So I have Become a Cancer Boss. This is more my journey when I was diagnosed and some treatments that I did then. And then Become a Cancer Boss. This is my second recent book. And then I talk about what I do now. So Angela's here. Let me bring her back to the stage. And welcome back, Angela.
For the fifth time. Like literally, I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I'm sorry.
It might be your Wi-Fi going out or something.
Yeah, so I did disconnect from Wi-Fi. Let's see if this makes a difference. But I apologize. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It happens.
Yeah, we see. Yes, it definitely does.
So did you want to finish sharing with us about some natural solutions you did then and now?
So really, I didn't. I mean, I didn't do a whole lot of stuff then, but now, like I said,
Okay.
massage, chiropractic.
Oh no, she's gone again. So I'm sure she's going to be back. So I really believe in natural solutions. I'll share some more tips with you guys. Something that you can do is definitely stay hydrated, drink lots of water. So if you're in treatment, make sure you're drinking lots of water to make sure you're flushing out those toxins. Also, make sure you're getting lots of rest. Make sure you're reaching out to your support system. If anyone asks for help or assistance, say yes and give them some things to do to help you for that week. Also, don't sweat the small things. What you learn is when you have a cancer diagnosis, not to sweat the small things. You really learn what matters and what don't matter. So I definitely would say that you definitely need Jesus, and your relationship with him will definitely get stronger during this time because it is a really hard challenge to have to go through. Another thing that was really helpful for me was grounding. I talk about grounding all the time, but grounding is like your body coming in contact with the ground. And Earth has like a lot of electrons, and so you release those negative ones, and then you gain those positive ones. But grounding does really help a lot with inflammation and pain in your body. Welcome back, Angela. So you did massage therapy. Anything else?
Chiropractic care. I came outside too to see if that makes a difference. So I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, massage therapy, and even I mean, I've used your oils. I appreciate you
Yeah.
sharing that. So because that's just around the house, all that stuff. So I feel like I've tried to incorporate stuff that I didn't do before to see, if that makes a difference. And I mean, I'm 10 years out, so something's doing something for sure.
Yeah, so essential oils are really powerful and wonderful. They come from the earth, and I have some oils here. I'll show you guys. Like my one of my favorite ones is lemon. Lemon is a natural detoxifier. It's great in your tea and your water and everything. Lemon every day. Every day use lemon. Ginger, because ginger tea is really amazing and wonderful, and it helps with inflammation and pain. So I definitely recommend those things. So I figured I'll just touch on that a little bit.
Yep, your lemon is one of the ones that I have. So
Uh-huh. I love lemon. All right. So, what else do I have here? So, what advice would you give other women or men who are navigating wellness after a cancer diagnosis? Is there anything that you would recommend that they do?
I think I would recommend them, for me, one thing that I make sure I do is I make sure I see the doctor yearly for all my yearly tests.
Mhm.
I did that before, but I'm more conscious of it now. Like I'm not going to miss a doctor's appointment. So just making sure that you're following up, you're doing the things, trying to implement healthy things or natural things, like you said. But just making sure that you're following up on those appointments, that you're exercising, that you're eating a healthy portion of fruits and vegetables, like those are the things that I definitely try to incorporate now more so than ever.
Yes. Thank you so much for sharing that. Those are some great tips. And make sure you move your body every day. Make sure you're getting sleep. Make sure you're resting. All those
Yeah.
things. Just care. Just take time to just be intentional. Be in the moment. I know sometimes we're so busy with work and kids and things to
Yep.
do. But
And then
sometimes it's
another
better
thing,
to do nothing, you know.
yeah, to piggyback off on that, like know your body. Because
Know
if
your
you know
body.
what your body is when it's in its normal state, you can easily spot when something's not right. And I think for me, like I knew my breast, I knew something was going on, and so I was
Mhm.
easily able to spot, that something was there that should not be there. So knowing your body is absolutely key.
Yes, I agree with that. Definitely know your body better than anyone else so you
Yeah.
can be able to communicate what you're feeling and be able to explain that to your doctors when you go in with any concerns.
Yeah.
So we're going to be finishing up here, but before we go, I wanted to give you a moment to share any information that you want to share about the Whiteout Breast Cancer event that's coming up.
Okay. So we are gonna host a Whiteout Breast Cancer Gala this year, September the 26th in Birmingham. This is our annual fundraiser. It's a beautiful event. It's fun, but I don't want to miss that. This is how we raise funds to support breast cancer patients and breast cancer survivors. Like this is our fundraiser. For the year. This year, we're doing it a whole lot differently. It's going to be a gala this year. We want everybody in their best. After 5, and again, it's a great time, but I don't want to miss the fact that this is our fundraiser and this is how we support those going through what both you and I have already gone through. And one thing about us is that, I mean, I know for me, I was out of breast cancer and still financially I was struggling, and so as long as the person has had breast cancer within the last 7 years, they're eligible to apply for the grants. It's not doesn't have to be somebody that's in active treatment or anything like that. Like we want to really just decrease the financial burden that so many families face after a diagnosis of breast cancer. Um, so yeah, our the the application process will open next month, because what we want to do is be able to present those honorees at our Whiteout Gala, those who will receive grants at the Whiteout Gala this year. That's what we've done the last 3 years or so. And so, yeah, you can find all our information at My Beauty for Ashes. .org. We have a website. You can go to that website to kind of find more information about like past honorees, the past things that we've done. And yeah, we're just this year for me personally is year 10 for survivorship, year 5 for whiteout breast cancer. And I just I am just so excited about just sharing Not what My Beauty for Ashes has done, not what Angela has done, but just sharing what God has done. Because to be honest with you, like if it had not been for what He has done, like none of this stuff that My Beauty for Ashes or Angela has done would even would even be, a factor. And so I'm just really thankful for what He has done.
Yes. Thank you, Jesus. Oh my God. Jesus is so wonderful.
He
We
is.
love him so much. Like he just
He
definitely saved our lives. So
he did
happy for
that. Did he not do
that.
that? He did that. He did it, and he did it beautifully. So I'm thankful, very thankful for that.
Yes. So I want to just invite you guys. I'm going to put in the comments after we get done more information about the website so you guys can go ahead and go on there and check out Beauty for Ashes and know more about the White Out Breast Cancer event that's coming up. Even if you can't come or can't make it, go ahead and purchase a ticket. It will be donated to another survivor. Um, and then you can also just donate money. Everything is for breast cancer survivors, and we really need your help and support. And I thank you so much for helping and supporting. And also, I wanted to just let other survivors out there and thrivers and pre-vivors that could be listening today that I have a new project coming out called Turning the Page. And I am helping survivors, thrivers, and pre-vivors share their story. It's very healing to share your story, and you never know who needs to hear it and how you can impact the world. And I would love to invite you to join me in this wonderful project that is going to impact the whole world. We're going to change the world
Absolutely.
by sharing our story. So I would love to have you be a part of that. And I will put more information about that as well. So
Okay.
is there anything else you want to say before we go?
No, just thank you so much for what you're doing. Thanking you for allowing me on your platform. Like I said, I feel like 5 years ago, I don't think either one of us knew we'd be here today. Like
Right.
from a phone call. I remember that phone call. Like, and I thank you. I can honestly say that this is who you are, supporting people and making sure that they have, because just like out of the blue, and I remember just being so excited. I was like, Mama, this lady just called me and she said that she's gonna come to White Out. Like, I was so excited. You will never know what that did for me. And so I appreciate that, and I appreciate what you're doing now. um, and I'm sorry, this big old truck just coming back by here again. But I appreciate what you're doing now for breast cancer patients, survivors, the advocacy. Like, I'm gonna definitely have to, we're gonna have to have some conversations because I want to get involved with that as well. So, thank you.
Yes, I would love to have you. I need 20 survivors. So reach out to me, you guys. Go ahead and come to the information meetings every Tuesday at 8 p.m. But I will be posting information about that. And I would love to have more survivors join because our story matters. You
Yep,
matter. And Jesus loves you.
yep, he does.
All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you all for tuning in today. I don't see any questions in the comments, but you can always reach out to me. I'm here for you.
Thank you guys. Thanks, Marshall.